So we just watched episode 14, The Fortune Teller. This is by far, so far, I don't think it's the worst overall. I think the next one we're about to watch is the worst overall. But this is by far a significant drop in quality.
It's the worst episode I've seen. Period.
And there's a lot of reasons
No
why.
context.
There's a lot of elements. The main element is, I don't know if they had like a requirement from Nickelodeon to push some sort of Valentine's Day episode. That's the only thing I can imagine. Because like if you imagine the show, I guess, started in like December and November, this would kind of time up with that. But otherwise, I can't think of it because there is no reason to have a heavy emphasis on romance for Aang or Katara. The only character it could kind of make sense for is Sokka, I think, because he's older and he's sort of hinted at stuff like this. But Aang and Katara have given no inclination at this point in their lives that they care at all about relationships, having kids, getting married. And it just feels very, very forced, very stupid, very fillery, very superfluous. I hate it.
I feel like it would make a little more sense with Aang because we know he is so flippant, you know, sometimes. And he's like he's just kind of goes by however he feels a lot.
But he's 12. Can you imagine like a 12-year-old?
Yeah, but it's like young love. I don't like the episode.
You don't have, and they use the word love so much, but he's 12.
I feel like it just makes less sense with Katara because she's, like you said while we were watching, she's never at this point talked about how fate predicts our future or how you just have to let things go. Like, she's not that kind of person.
If Katara was a boy, we wouldn't have this episode. This is pushed because Katara is a girl, and there's some idea that the girl has to be kind of like lovey-dovey or care about having kids or stuff like that. And it's stupid because the character does not dictate that at all. It's exclusively dictated by the character's gender, which is really horrible writing, I think.
Well, I think for both of them it was really horrible writing.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense with their characters.
And, I mean, they don't push this a lot, but they do push it more at some points. And we were talking about this is kind of like Harry Potter with their dynamic. But it's also with Harry Potter the writers here don't know how to write romance, especially kid and teen romance. That's something Harry Potter is always sort of cringy at, I feel, and I was uncomfortable with this episode. It's completely unnecessary, too. You could just cut it out.
I wasn't uncomfortable with it. I just thought it was stupid.
Well, I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm like cringing at sort of what I'm seeing. Because it feels so check the boxes. It feels so, this is for kids. We need to do a lovey episode or something like that. Nothing about it feels natural. Nothing about it feels right.
Yeah, I thought, and the story overall, the pacing was really bad.
And that's just one aspect of it. This whole fortune teller thing is also kind of stupid, I think.
Yeah. Because, like, we're not sure if she's, like, actually a fortune teller or if she is. We're pretty sure that she isn't. But, like, it's just weird how, like, they spend so much time in the middle just with the fortune teller. Well, like, I think the intro was good. Like, not the parts with Aang, but, like, with the platypus bear. Like, that part is good, because they'd be like, this is, like, a little action thing. That, like, it's a little action thing, and then this guy's like, this fortune teller told me, and then they go to the city. So, like, that sets it up well. But after that, it just falls on its face.
And, okay, so there's one thing that I feel like they kind of show a hint of attempting sort of a larger theme or metaphor. You know, when the one guy says, that's what you get for believing in science and reason or something like that. And they could have made this like a metaphor for, I don't know, flat earthers or something like that. They could have gone... Because Avatar usually isn't afraid to go for that greater metaphor, that sort of social ideology perspective, but it's not here at all here. Mm-hmm. It's not here. And the other thing is, the only other thing I could see where this could have been something interesting is they try and push this, and they push it way too hard, of the... Aang sort of has the unrequited feelings for Katara, and there's a younger girl who has the same feelings for Aang. He doesn't feel it. So it's sort of be like... I just did that too. You said I'd be like, and I said sort of be like. They sort of do this thing where this is how he sort of gets the perspective of this is how Katara must feel, or this is how this girl feels, this is how I feel, and sort of draw that comparison. But I've seen this exact observation done better in so many other shows. I think they do a really good job of it in Gravity Falls. They sort of have that awkward thing, but it makes more sense because the character is younger, and the character his feelings for is like 6 or 7 years older. Mm. And that's sort of a teenage thing to be like a preteen and see sort of like an older teen.
Well, Katara's older than him.
By like 1 or 2 years. But I mean like a 12-year-old and like an 18-year-old or something like that. that's sort of a thing that happens. That's natural, and you're like, it's
how is that natural, and then a 12-year-old having a crush on a 14-year-old not natural?
because it feels too much. Because the idea with the 12 and the 18-year-old is you're sort of like, this would never actually happen.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the message that comes that is you need to get over it. But they also, in this episode, sort of push, well, maybe it could happen. Maybe Aang and Katara could be an item. And I don't buy it here, and I don't buy it at any point in these series.
Yeah, me either.
So, yeah, there's really...
It was just it was just a bad episode in
It
almost
offers
every single aspect.
It offers really nothing. There wasn't great comedy. The only thing was you're kind of like, oh yeah, go Sokka, because he's the only one who's the voice of reason, but it's not even that funny in his sarcastic observations.
No. So I like skip it. You
could
skip it.
if you're watching the show, you can absolutely skip this episode and miss nothing. There's no plot progression, there's no Suzuko B story, there's no valuable moral or action scene. It is completely superfluous. And
Yeah.
it'll honestly, watching it will make you be like, well, maybe this show isn't that good. Like, this is... Because you just had 2 powerhouse episodes, and maybe that's why they put it here in the season, because it could go anywhere, it doesn't matter. This could have gone 6 episodes ago, and it wouldn't make any difference.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's the fortune.
Avoid episode 4.
And unfortunately, we have Bato of the Water Tribe coming up now, and if this is the episode that I think it is, we're going to have a very similar reaction coming soon.
Do you think Bato is a little baka?
I'm going to stop it before you say that.